Okay, just over 2 minutes until we get started. So we'll give it a minute to see if anybody else. That light is bizarre today, isn't it? Okay. Good morning. Well, that's new. We've never had a waiting room on here before, so that was exciting, Joanne. I got to admit you from the waiting room.
Hi.
Good morning. We have just a minute until we get started, so settle in, get comfy. So if you're watching this, like later, or even if you're with me currently, before we start our beginner yoga class this morning, if you could grab a chair, like any kind of a chair. So this is the chair I'm going to be using. It's literally like a basic, almost like a dining room chair. Anything without arms on it, we're going to use it for just a couple of almost restorative poses today. So having a chair or a stool, or if you're in your living room and you have an ottoman handy, even like if you have one of those couches with like the chaise lounge that comes out off the end of it, that would work just fine. So just to have some sort of support for later on in the class. And grab yourself, if you have the yoga bolster, fantastic, grab that. If not, grab a couple of couch cushions or bed pillows or anything to create your bolster, and also a blanket that's been kind of like rolled up. This is an actual yoga blanket, but it's the same size as any throw that you would have laying around your living room. So having these 3 items available is going to be very beneficial to class today. So we have, let me check. Oh, I have 3 clocks in here and none of them say the same time. This one says 8:59. So we are going to go ahead and get started. My name is Bryn Eboric. I am an instructor at the YMCA. I teach spin and some yoga classes. We are very, very grateful that you have chosen to participate in our virtual memberships. So thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of our heart for staying connected with us at the YMCA during this time that we are apart. I feel like there was a spiel I was supposed to go through, but for some reason, I'm drawing a blank. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Everybody has their stuff. Maybe during our Shavasana, I will be able to get it together. So we're gonna do our Shavasana just a little bit different than we normally do. We are gonna start with a heart opener. So normally we would just stretch out flat for our opening Shavasana. We're gonna take our 2 pillows, just one on top of the other right here. And we're going to take our blanket. The blanket is going to go under our knees. So this is going to be our knee support, just to take the pressure off our low back. We're going to take the pillows, and they're going to be, when we start to lay back, we want the pillows to kind of hit us right in the center of our back. So right around the shoulder blade area. So not tucked up right at your tailbone, but just out just a little bit. So using your hands for support, beginning to lower yourself back. Allowing the pillow to support your head a little bit. You don't want your head just completely hanging upside down. It is sinus season, and I'm aware that a lot of people are struggling with some sinus pressure today. So even if you need to push the pillows up a little bit further just to create a support for your head, the most important thing is we want it to be under your rib cage and kind of between your shoulder blades. So that when we go into our Shavasana with our arms splayed out, our heart is lifted. So we're creating just a little bit of lift through the ribs as we begin to settle in. Allowing that blanket under your knees to take the pressure off your low back, creating a little bit of support through your knees. Beginning to relax your toes, letting your feet fall away from one another. Relaxing your ankles and your knees. Relaxing your hips and your belly. Letting the belly go soft so you can encourage the breath to travel down past the ribs, past the chest, and into the softened belly. Relaxing the heart center and the throat. Separating the teeth and letting the bottom jaw feel heavy. Creating space in the jaw. Relaxing the forehead. Relaxing the muscles in and around the eyes. Letting the eyes close if that's comfortable for you. But if you feel like you're fighting it, then just softening your gaze so you're taking in as little light as possible. Letting your awareness wash over your entire body, encouraging any areas that you feel are still maintaining stress or tension, to just let go. Slowing the inhale and slowing the exhale. Drawing the breath down into the belly, and with every exhale, feeling the belly rise all the way down to the navel center. So the navel center is that point just below the belly button. So drawing the breath down past the ribs, past the belly button. Feeling the belly expand all the way down into the hips. And then feeling the belly go soft with the exhale. Following that breath on the inhale with the cool air in through the nose and down the throat. Following the rush of warm air up through the chest and across the back of the throat, and the warm air out the tip of the nose on the exhale. Reminding yourself to just be present with the breath. Giving yourself permission to take a break from all the thinking and the worrying. And just be here with your breath now. And now kind of keeping everything exactly where it's at. You don't even really need to open your eyes. If you can just draw your feet up so that your feet are planted on the floor, and you're going to move that blanket with your feet up towards your hips. They're not going to go under your hips. It's just going to be right at your butt. You're going to bring your feet together so that the sides of your feet are touching. And on your next exhale, you're going to slowly let your knees fall away from each other into a reclined butterfly. Now that blanket should be tucked up nice and close to your hips so that as your legs fall open, it acts as a support just underneath your, kind of like your thigh area, so that it doesn't create too much pull in through the groin. Now returning to that breath, allowing that breath to travel deep into the belly. This gives your breath even more space to travel through the body. On your next inhale, you're going to take your hands under your knees and just draw your knees together. We're going to walk our feet to the outside of the mat. So now our knees are kind of reversing that stretch. Your ankles and your feet will be kind of pointed inward, allowing your knees to fall inward, and your ankles and feet will stay out on the outside of the mat. Following that breath. Now you can take your hand down and just kind of grab onto that blanket and pull it so that it's off to the side now. We're going to walk our feet back in together. We're just going to start tapping our toes, creating some movement in the feet, waking up those feet, turning your hands to face down and tapping your fingertips on the floor, waking up fingertips in the hands. You can let your eyes open. And we're just going to begin with some really slow, gentle rocking. So knees are going to swish side to side, not touching down, just a little bit of movement in the low back. And when you're ready, we're going to roll off our pillows just to one side and just take a breath here. Enjoying this side lying position. Placing both hands on the floor to protect your low back before you press up, coming up to seated. And we're gonna push those pillows away for now. If you have your chair, I'm just gonna place mine right here at the end of my mat so that when I need it, it's close by. And I am gonna start in easy pose in a nice comfortable, my left foot is in close to the root. My right foot is just out in front. So my ankles are not stacked. I just have one foot in front of the other. We're just going to begin by waking up these shoulders. So with every inhale, we're going to draw the shoulders up and back. And on the exhale, the shoulders come down and around. So every rotation, I don't know why I struggled with that word, matches the pace of your breath. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, down and around. And now let's reverse it. So inhale, up and forward. Exhale, down and around. Inhale, up and forward. Exhale, down and around. Just a few more. Good. And now shake it out. Begin to create just a gentle wave throughout the body, right? So starting by just shifting back and forth, side to side on the tailbone, from one sit bone to the other, allowing that wave to travel up through the low back, through the mid back, letting the neck go in nice, gentle waves. And then settling in. We're gonna roll the shoulders back and down. Tuck the chin just slightly towards your chest. Inhale, sending the arms up. Palms facing out. Exhale, forward fold. Just coming down to a comfortable stretch. You don't want to overstretch this. You'll feel an opening in the low back, maybe even in the right hip if your right foot is forward. Do not overstretch this. Keeping your nose pointed to a spot between your hands to start. Breathing into that belly. On your next inhale, coming up onto your fingertips and just walking towards the right. As far as you can go, as is comfortable for you. Keeping your back straight by keeping your nose pointed outward. We're not collapsing into this yet. And drawing the breath into that side body, the left side body. We're creating space, lifting the ribs up away from the hips, filling it with air. On your next inhale, coming back to center, staying up on those fingertips. Taking a breath here. And inhale to the left this time. Coming toward the left. Now, I know I always say this, but here's a great place to just notice what you notice. Noticing where you feel the tightness or if one side is easier than the other. Man, I don't know about you, but I really feel this on my right side where I did not feel it as much the other way. Inhale, coming back to center. Flattening your hands now so your palms are resting, and exhale, collapsing into it. So letting your chin fall towards your chest. If your hands travel out just a little bit more, that's okay. Inhale, lifting up, locking your hands in nice and slow, and coming back up to seated. Taking a full breath here. Now let's reverse our feet. So all we're gonna do is send the left ankle out in front of the right ankle. staying in that seated pose, let's create that wave again. All this really does is it loosens and softens the spine. It reminds us to not take ourselves so seriously. And also, it distributes the weight on your sits bones a little bit better. Coming to neutral, rolling the shoulders back and down, pulling up through that string, that imaginary string coming up through the crown of your head. Inhale, arms up overhead, palms facing out. Exhale, forward fold. Finding that sweet spot. If you went too far, walk your hands in. If you feel like you can just tolerate a little bit more stretch comfortably, take your hands out that centimeter, 2 centimeters. As small a movement as you can handle, keeping your nose pointed to a point just between your hands. Inhale, coming up to your fingertips, and this time we're going to start traveling towards the left. Creating that space in the right side body, space for breath, space for expansion. Inhale, coming back to center. Taking a full breath here. And then walking towards the right. Noticing what you notice. Whenever we say noticing what you notice, the expectation is not for you to make any changes or adjustments. It's just for us to be more aware of where we notice things happening in our body. Inhale, coming back to center, flattening your hands. Exhale, dropping your chin to your chest, collapsing into that stretch. Inhale, looking up, coming back up to your fingertips, walking your hands in nice and slow. Drawing in a very deep inhale into the base of your belly. Dropping your jaw for an open mouth exhale. One more time. Drawing in a very, very deep breath. Open mouth exhale. Great job. We're going to take our left hand to the mat. Inhale, right hand coming up. Exhale, crescent shaped spine to the left. Careful not to roll that shoulder forward, but instead pressing that right shoulder back. Rotating that left shoulder forward just a little bit to keep your body squared forward. Inhale, pressing back up. Exhale, right hand down to the mat. Taking a breath here. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, crescent shaped spine to the right. Pressing that left shoulder back. Twisting that right shoulder forward. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, release. Very good. We're going to send our legs out in front. Let's shake them out. Let's release any tension. Give yourself a little baby massage here. Wake up those legs. Good. Shake it out. Keeping our toes pointed up towards the ceiling, we're just going to sit up nice and tall, taking our palms to the floor next to our hips, fingertips pointing forward, pressing up through the palm of our hands. So you notice, sitting like this, I can only get so much height. Pressing with the palms of my hands, I can lift through the chest. Dropping my chin just slightly towards the chest, so there's tension in my arms, there's tension in my legs. My kneecaps are lifted because my thigh muscles are engaged. Drawing the navel in towards the spine just a little bit. Dropping the chin to the chest just a little bit, just to create a long, neutral, straight spine. Breathing into our seated staff pose. One more breath here. And on your next exhale, releasing all tension. Inhale, arms coming up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Keeping the legs either locked out straight, you can even have a slight bend or a full bend, whatever is most comfortable for you. But letting your hands travel down, either rest on the toes, the ankles, somewhere on the calves, wherever you feel a comfortable stretch without overdoing it. Inhale, coming back up to seated. We're going to take our right foot and we're going to cross it over just above the left knee. So it's going to be kind of like a figure four. I'm going to place my hands behind me for support as I draw the left foot up. So now my left foot is flat on the floor and my right foot is crossed over just above the knee. Now, taking in a deep breath. On the exhale, I'm going to scoop my bottom as close to my left foot as is comfortable, creating a stretch in my right hip. So feeling an opening through this hip. I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see what happened with my hands. So I started here, and as I move forward, my hands stay back so that it creates a support for me to lean back on so I can get the best stretch out of my hip without overstraining my low back. So much of my weight is resting on the ball of my hand. Breathing into your belly. Now, if you want to get more of a stretch, for these last two breaths, you can walk your hands in closer. That's going to deepen the stretch in that hip. And on your next exhale, you're going to send that left leg out right in front of you, allowing that right knee to drop, walking your hands to wherever is comfortable for you so you can send both legs out long. Let's switch. So shake out your legs, release any tension, and then bring the left ankle up, crossing over just above the right knee. Hands going to the mat behind you. Inhale, drawing that right foot up so it's planted flat on the floor. Exhale, scooting your hips forward to find that comfortable stretch, that opening in the left hip. I know I say it a lot, but I'm going to say it again. Here's a great place to notice what you notice. We carry so much tension in our hips, and I think a lot of times we're not even aware of it. And we carry it unevenly. Like I notice how much more I feel it on the left side than I do on the right. We have 2 breaths left, so I'm going to walk my hands forward just a smidge. wow, I can't even do it on this side. On the other side, I could walk my hands forward. On this left side, my body said, no, thank you, Bryn. So I'm going to walk my hands right back to where they were. Exhale, sending that right leg out long, taking the left leg off your knee to meet it. Oh, releasing any tension. Let's draw both knees up into the chest and just give it a big hug. Good job. We are going to swing our knees around so that we're going to come up almost like a tabletop. This is where we're going to need our chair. So we're going to work in just a handful of restorative poses today, and this is one of them. So this is supported fallen leaf. So I'm going to give you a couple of options and you decide what you want to do. We're going to use our chair. So your knees will go wide, your big toes come together, and we're going to allow our hips to travel back, and we're going to use this chair as our support. So we're going to extend our arms out over the chair, allowing our forehead to rest on the edge of the chair. Now you can stay here, or if you would like a little bit more support, you can place that blanket or one of your pillows across like the ankles or the calves. So as you begin to travel back, oh, that's nice. You find all of that support on that blanket or pillow that's draped across the calves back there, allowing your forehead to just rest on the chair, creating so much space for the belly and for breath. On your next inhale, slowly lifting your head first, taking in a little bit of light, walking your hands to the edge of the chair, and assisting yourself in coming up to seated. We're going to take our blanket off to the side, and I'm just going to push my chair out of the way, but still within arm's reach, so when I need it later, it's right where I need it. I'm going to take my toes to the outside of the mat. I'm going to bring my knees in just a little bit so that I'm in a tabletop position. We're going to create that wave in our body, just a little bit of movement. Our hands are going to be just an inch or so in front of our shoulders, fingertips splayed wide, so that as we press out into our down dog, we are using all of our hand, not just driving up through the palm of our hand, but using all of our hands. So curling our toes under, dropping your chin to your chest. Inhale, sending your hips up tall towards the ceiling. You can take your feet to the outside of the mat, so your pinky toes are touching the outside of the mat. Your pinky fingers are splayed wide, so they're also touching the outside of the mat. And then press back through your hands to release your shoulders, bringing the floor closer to your heels. Bending the right knee, then straightening, bending the left knee. Go to the pace of your own breath. Straightening both knees, looking up between your hands, and either taking one big step or a bunch of little steps to come up to a forward fold. So letting your feet be maybe shoulders distance apart, letting your arms hang heavy. Taking your hands to the front of your shins, inhale, halfway rise. Exhale, forward fold. Bending at the knees, arms to the side, looking up, reaching all the way back, letting your gaze travel to your hands, letting your hips travel forward into a mini back bend. Exhale. Inhale, coming up, arms overhead, hands together. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're gonna, we have to admit people. I don't know what's going on with the waiting room today, but that's weird. Anyway, okay. So we're gonna take that, we were here, we're gonna take one step back. So left foot for me is out in front, right foot in back, drawing that imaginary line from my left heel to my right arch, bending my left knee and checking in to make sure that my left knee stays over my last two toes. So we don't want that knee coming in, that puts too much compression on the knee. So keeping it out over the last two toes. Inhale, arms coming straight up overhead. Exhale, palms facing down, checking in with your shoulders, making sure they're not up here like we all tend to do, right? Rolling the shoulders back and down, checking in with this right hand. As we twisted, did it come with it? Sending that right arm back. Feeling the opening across the heart center, squeezing the shoulder blades together, looking out over the left fingertips, breathing into the belly. On this last exhale, straightening that left leg, turning the palms to face out, lowering the left hand down the inside of the left leg, reaching the right hand up towards the ceiling, turning, if it's comfortable for you, to look up towards your right palm. Now this left hand can travel all the way down to the floor if that's comfortable for you, or you can stop right here for your triangle pose. Squaring your shoulders, so sending this right shoulder back as you twist that left shoulder forward. One more breath here. Exhale, bending that left knee, coming back up to warrior two. Checking in with that left knee over the last two toes. Checking in with your shoulders, rolling them back and down. Exhale, releasing your arms down, turning your left foot forward. So now both feet are facing forward. Bending at the knees, we're going to sunburst our arms up and around on the inhale. Here we go. Inhale up. Exhale, palms facing out, wide leg, forward fold. Letting your hands touch down if that's comfortable for you. Just taking a breath here, hanging heavy. I always like to kind of rock my weight forward and back. It just feels good. So from the ball mount to the heel of my foot. On your next inhale, looking up, bending at the knees, sending the arms out like airplane wings, reaching all the way up. Hands together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Taking a breath here. Turning the right toes to face out this time. Checking in with your feet. Always, always, always making sure that you have that straight line from your heel to the arch of your foot. Looking out over your right toes, putting a little bend in that knee. I should have said this on the other side, but also the other thing that you want to look for is not only do you want to keep it over your right two toes, but you don't want it to go past. So let me see if I can get this. See how if I do this, my knee goes past my toes? We want to keep it so that when your knee bends, it's almost a straight line. You know, like if you had a plumb line that went straight down from your knees to your ankles, you want that to be as straight as possible. So pushing that knee back to open up the hips and keeping it over the right two toes. That was a lot of explanation, sorry. Squaring the hips, squaring the shoulders. Inhale, arms up. Palms facing down. Exhale, shoulder height. Roll the shoulders back and down, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Straight line, fingertip to fingertip. Space in the chest, looking out over the right fingertips. Exhale, straightening that right leg. Sending the right arm down, palms facing out. Down the inside of the right leg, sending the left palm up towards the ceiling. Finding the point that's comfortable for you. Turning to look over your left shoulder towards your left palm if that's comfortable. If not, then just keeping your gaze forward and kind of neutral. Sending this right shoulder forward, which will automatically send that left shoulder back, squaring off your upper body. Same thing with your hips, rotating this left hip back and the right hip forward. Inhale, bending that right knee, coming back to warrior two. Checking in with those shoulders, back and down. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, squaring the hips, squaring the shoulders, looking out over the right fingertips. Exhale, dropping the arms, rotating the right foot forward. So now both feet are pointing in the same direction, bending at the knees. Inhale, up. Palms facing out. Exhale, forward fold. Once again, letting your hands settle on the floor, if that's comfortable. Inhale, looking up, bending at the knees, arms to the side, reaching all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Very good. We are going to do, to get down, back down to the floor, we are going to do the yoga squat. If this is uncomfortable for anybody, you can just find your way down to the mat in whatever manner is most comfortable for you. So we're going to walk our feet in to wherever you would do, like if you were in an exercise class and you were doing squats, right? So that's the distance you want your feet to be apart. So for me, that is just a little bit wider than shoulders, and my feet tend to go out, and that's okay. So I don't want anybody to be forcing their toes to go in as we go into this squat if that's uncomfortable, because it can damage your knees. So finding the position that's most comfortable for you, rocking your weight forward and back. Inhale, arms up, palms coming together, and on the exhale, slowly bringing the thumbs down across the midline of the face, the nose, the lips, down the throat. And when you hit the heart center, beginning to put some bend in the knee, dropping your hips back. So this is more of a hip hinge. So as I am squatting, I'm not just leaning forward. I'm hinging at the hips, lowering myself slowly Getting to the position where I can release all tension and holding it for just 3 breaths. On your next exhale, placing your hands on the mat in front of you, rotating forward so that you can swing your legs around. Good job. Okay. The working part of this class is over. We're going to finish this with a few restorative poses before we go into our final Shavasana. So, have your chair handy. Just close enough so that you can either grab it with your feet and pull it in a minute, or that would be ideal. So whatever you gotta do. So I am going to kind of bring all my props in close, because once I get down on the floor, I'm not gonna want to get up. So my pillows are off to the side, my blanket is here, and my chair is right there. Now the pillows we want to have the closest, because we're gonna need those in just a second. Here we go. Because I need you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to slowly lower myself down on to the mat, laying flat. Pillows are right here next to me. My feet are planted on the floor. My knees are pointing up towards the ceiling. We're going to go through a little bit of desk bridge pose. We're going to make it a vinyasa. So I'm going to show you once what it looks like, and then you join into the pace of your breath. On the inhale, my heels are as close to my bottom as I can get them without creating pain in my knee. And on the inhale, hips up, arms up, all the way up to where my arms, my back of my hands are going to touch the floor. Exhale, arms down, hips down. So when you're doing this, don't turn your head at all. That's why I want you to watch before we start doing this. We want you to keep your spine completely neutral. And you're bringing your chest up towards your chin. So one more time, watch, and then we can all do it together. Inhale. Exhale. Ready? Inhale, hips up, arms up. Exhale, arms down, hips down. Inhale, hips up, arms up. Exhale, arms down, hips down. One more time. Inhale, up. Exhale. This time when we lift our hips, we're going to slide our pillows in underneath our hips for support. And we're going to hold it for 3 breaths. So you can use one pillow or you can use both, however high you can get your hips comfortably. So here we go. Inhale, lifting the hips, sliding the pillows under the hips, and then relaxing the hips down, onto the hips, bringing the arms up overhead. It may not feel like much, but just creating that little mini back bend opens up the whole front body. Breathing into that belly. Inhale, lifting your hips just enough to slide that pillow out from underneath. Exhale, lowering your hips to the floor, and then drawing your knees into your chest. Wrapping your arms around them. We're going to send our arms out to the side like airplane wings. And we're going to continue to rock side to side. And on your next exhale, letting your knees travel down to rest on the floor beside you. So this is a good place where, see how there's a gap between my knees here? I'm going to take one of my pillows And I'm just going to slide it right in between my knees. And I'm going to take a few breaths here. My arms are out to the side, both shoulders staying flat on the mat. Experiencing a gentle opening in the left side body. On my next inhale, I'm going to draw my knees back up to center, rocking side to side just a little bit. And I'm just going to keep that pillow there because I know I'm going to need it on the other side. Exhale, lowering my knees to the left side. Oh. Breathing into that right side body this time. Inhale, bringing my knees back up to center. I'm going to put that pillow off to the side. And on my next inhale, I'm going to stretch my legs out long. My fingertips going one way, my toes going the other for a good morning stretch. Exhale, releasing all tension. Feeling heavy, heavy, heavy on the floor. Inhale, stretching like a piece of taffy. Toes one way, fingertips the other. Exhale. Release. One last time. Inhale. Exhale. Now, as we settle in for our final Shavasana, it's going to be just a smidge different. So last week, I think it was this class that we did, legs up the wall. This is the equivalent, except it's a little bit more relaxing because you don't have to do anything once you're in position. So I am going to take my rolled up blanket and I'm going to place it right up here because I'm going to use that as my neck support. I am going to take one of my pillows, just one, and I'm going to lift my hips so that when I lay back, the bones in my lower back are not grinding into the floor, right? I'm just going to provide myself with a little bit of cushion. And all I'm going to do to settle into this final Shavasana is put my feet up. I'm going to rest my legs from my knee to my ankle up on my chair. And as I begin to lay back, I will adjust everything so that it is just right. Bringing that pillow just under my hips. I'm going to draw my chair in just a smidge closer so that I feel 100% supported. So if you want to grab another blanket to cover up with, or if you want to grab socks or a sweatshirt or whatever to make yourself comfortable. And then we're just going to allow ourselves to really, really surrender all of our weight over to this chair, to this floor, into the earth beneath us. Letting our arms float away from the body, creating space. Letting our palms face up. Tucking your chin just slightly, using that neck support to your advantage to allow your chin to tuck slightly towards your chest. Separating your teeth. Releasing your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Letting your eyes close if that's comfortable for you. Relaxing your forehead, your cheeks. Rolling your shoulders back and down, opening through the heart center. Relaxing the belly and the hips. Letting your legs feel heavy as they rest on the chair. And now taking your awareness to the breath. Not making any attempt to change the breath, but just noticing. Is your breath long or short? Is it deep or shallow? Then beginning to add just a little bit of intention to every breath. Intentionally slowing it down. Adding length to the inhale. Length to the exhale. And as your mind begins to play tricks on you, your mind is an interesting thing. It'll start to tell you that, okay, class is almost over. We need to do this next, and we need to do this next, and we need to do this next. Just remind your mind that right now, all we need to do is enjoy this breath. We are here. We are safe. We have everything we need. With every inhale, allowing your body to feel lighter, like you're lifting up off the floor. And with every exhale, sinking like a stone back to the earth. Now encouraging your breath to just return to its normal pattern. Inviting some gentle movement into the ankles and the toes. Maybe bending at the elbows. Opening the eyes when you're ready. We're going to roll to one side. So removing our legs from the chair. Just taking a breath here on our side. Pressing both hands into the floor and coming up to seated one last time. You can even take that pillow and sit on it just a smidge. It gives you just a little bit of height, lifting your hips up off the floor. Letting your hands travel to find your knees, palms down or palms up. Collectively drawing in a very, very, very deep inhale. Dropping your jaw for an open mouth exhale. Allowing your hands to travel to the heart center. Taking this last moment that we shared together to show gratitude to yourself for taking this time to do this. Gratitude for the breath, reminding ourselves that we're never really alone. The breath is the first thing to greet us as we travel into this world. It is the last thing to leave us as we transition on to the next. Showing gratitude for the breath. Showing gratitude for this time together, even though we are apart. I know that I can speak for myself as well as the YMCA by saying that we are so grateful to be able to stay connected with all of you. And I'm going to leave you with one last reminder. Maybe none of you need to hear it, maybe only I do, but yoga is not ever, ever, ever about the way that we look in the poses, the size or shape of our body, or how flexible we are. Yoga is about this moment right here, right now. The word yoga means to yoke, to connect. Connect with your breath, connect with your mind, connect with your body. And by the grace of Zoom, we are able to connect with one another. I look forward to sharing space and time with you very soon, whether it's in studio or right back here, I'll take it. Until we spend time together again, namaste.
Namaste. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you.